Stop visualizing what you want. That sentence probably sounded like a mistake, but it isn't. Most people spend their entire lives visualizing success, repeating positive affirmations in the mirror, while their nervous system remains vibrating, minute after minute, in a raw state of scarcity and terror. And here is the problem no one told you about. The quantum field does not respond to your words. It responds to the coherence between your heart and your brain. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the exact biological error that is blocking your reality, and more importantly, how to reverse this error today, right now, before this video ends. Your brain is not a receiver of reality. It is a generator. This is the first truth that needs to be installed, with surgical precision, before anything else. You are not here to pick up an external reality that already exists, ready and waiting to be discovered. You are here as an emitting center, a core of creation that every second projects outward what was first encoded within. This means that you are, literally, a creator being, not in the poetic, decorative, airport bookstore self-help sense. In the biological, energetic, mechanical sense, you have within you a practically unlimited capacity to shape the experience you call life. The only real limit is not in the universe. It is not in the economy, in your family history, in the city where you were born. The only genuine limit is in your own beliefs, in the neural pathways that have been carved, repetition after repetition, since childhood, until they formed grooves so deep that you mistake these grooves for your personality. Think of a dirt path in the middle of an open field. At first it was just grass. But someone walked there once, then again, until the grass died and the earth was exposed, compacted, an obvious path. Today, when you walk through that field, your feet choose the trail without even thinking, because it is the path of least resistance. Your beliefs work exactly like that. Every thought of scarcity, every "this will never work for me," every old shame, is one more step compacting that trail. And your brain, which is fundamentally lazy from an energetic standpoint, will always choose the already open trail, even if that trail is leading you straight to the same place as always. But there is an ethical condition embedded in this creative capacity, and it is not optional. Your power to shape reality does not give you license to invade someone else's field. You can desire wealth, love, health, expansion with as much intensity as you want, as long as that desire does not require taking something from someone, does not require controlling another's will, does not require someone else to lose so that you can win. Genuine creation is generative, not extractive. This is not a moral rule imposed from the outside. It is a law of energetic coherence. Requests built upon the manipulation or harm of others carry, embedded in their very structure, a dissonance that sabotages the result before it even manifests. Now, if you are a generator and not a receiver, the natural question is, generator of what exactly? The answer is uncomfortable in its simplicity. Everything that exists, without exception, is energy organized into different frequencies. The chair you are sitting on right now at a subatomic level is mostly empty space vibrating at a frequency stable enough to appear solid to your limited senses. Your thoughts are electrical patterns firing between neurons. Your emotions are chemical and electromagnetic signatures that your heart, which possesses a measurable electromagnetic field much more potent than that of the brain, radiates beyond your physical body, in a radius that science can already detect with instruments. Learning to manipulate this energy, with intention and precision, is literally learning to create. The universe, or the field if you prefer that more clinical term, responds to requests. But it does not respond to just any request made in any way. It only responds when there is clarity in the emission. And therein lies the pain that practically no one can name on their own. Most people ask from a place of desperation, and desperation is noise, not a signal. It is like trying to tune into a radio station by spinning the dial randomly, shouting louder and louder in the hope that volume will compensate for the lack of tuning. It does not. The field does not hear your beautiful words written in your journal in the morning. It reads the energetic signature of your entire body, 24 hours a day, including those 2 in the afternoon when you clench your jaw waiting for the next bill to arrive. If you have made it this far feeling that tightness in your chest, it is because your nervous system has just recognized the truth I described. You ask for abundance with your mouth, but your body remains trained day after day to survive within scarcity. This dissonance between what you verbally desire and what your field physiologically emits is exactly what stalls manifestation before it even begins. That is why I prepared the Imán da Prosperidade for you. It is a 28-day journey created to reprogram your internal field at a biological level, moving away from the identity of scarcity and embodying, cell by cell, the frequency of real abundance, spiritual, emotional, and financial. It is not about thinking differently, it is about vibrating differently. Full access is in the first comment pinned below. If you understand that the time has come to stop sending mixed signals to the universe, comment right now. Eu escolo o novo estado. Returning to the mechanics of creation, there is a second error, as common as the first, that silently sabotages almost every request made to the field. This error is vagueness. Generic requests produce generic, incomplete, skewed results, often ironic in the way they manifest. Imagine that you mentally ask, "I want more money." It seems like a clear request, but from an energetic point of view, it is like handing a builder only the word house and expecting them to guess how many rooms you want, what style, what size, what location. The builder will build something because the order to build was given, but the result will likely not look anything like what you imagined. There are reports, repeated countless times by people from completely different backgrounds, of individuals who asked for more money vaguely and received that money through a life insurance policy of a relative who passed away or through an accident settlement. The field fulfilled the request literally. It just had no instructions on how that money should arrive, nor on the emotional context in which you wanted to receive it. The more specific and detailed your desire is, the greater the probability of reality reflecting exactly what was requested, with the nuances that matter to you. It is not enough to ask for a relationship. You must define the quality of the presence you wish to feel beside that person, the type of conversations you will have, the respect, the reciprocity. It is not enough to ask for a new job. You must define the environment, the purpose, the value you want to feel you are generating with your work, the number that represents your compensation. Clarity is not an aesthetic whim. It is the fuel of the process itself. Each detail you add to your request is, in practice, more information being transmitted to the field, reducing the space for interpretations that do not serve you. And there is a concrete neurological reason for this requirement of precision. Your brain in the region of the limbic system possesses a structure called the reticular activating system, whose function is to filter, among millions of stimuli you receive per second, which ones deserve your conscious attention. This filter is trained by your declared priorities. When you define a goal with surgical clarity, you are literally reconfiguring this filter to start noticing opportunities, people, connections, and paths that were always there, but were previously invisible because your brain did not know it needed to look for them. Vagueness keeps this filter switched off. Clarity turns it on. The most powerful tool for installing this clarity into your nervous system is not verbal repetition. It is visualization. There is a huge difference between wanting something and repeatedly visualizing that something as if it were already happening, in the present, with every possible sensory detail. The smell of the environment, the texture of surfaces, the sound of voices around you, the physical sensation of the achievement already installed in your body. When you visualize in this way, your brain, which does not distinguish with perfect clarity between a lived experience and an intensely imagined one, begins to trigger the same neurochemical patterns as someone who has already achieved it. You are not pretending. You are pre-training your nervous system to recognize as familiar a reality that has not yet happened on the physical plane, but which has already been rehearsed over and over on the neurological plane. There are fascinating historical accounts of this mechanism. Athletes who, before there was any science on the subject, already practiced the so-called mental visualization of the perfect movement minutes before the competition, achieving measurable performance gains comparable to actual physical training. People who described, in impressive detail, houses they had never entered months before they actually lived in them, entrepreneurs who described meetings, contracts, and specific revenue numbers before any external sign that it would be possible. The pattern that repeats in practically all these accounts is the same. The detailed mental image comes before the concrete event, not after. Visualization is not an early celebration of something that was already destined to happen. It is an active part of the mechanism that makes that something happen. Remember, the visualization you have just learned only sustains change if your internal field is already reprogrammed to receive it. This is exactly what the Imán da Prosperidade does in 28 days. The link is pinned in the first comment. Those who decide now reap sooner. Those who wait repeat the same year they have already lived. After the goal has been defined with absolute clarity and repeatedly visualized as already accomplished, there is a third movement that most people simply cannot execute because it goes against decades of cultural conditioning regarding control and effort. This movement is letting go of the how. You define the what with surgical precision. You do not define the path. The compulsive need to control every stage of the process, to know exactly which door the opportunity will enter through is, ironically, what most hinders manifestation. This happens because excessive control is born from fear, and fear is a frequency of scarcity disguised as responsibility. Think of someone trying to hold a handful of fine sand with their fist clenched as hard as they can. The tighter the grip, the faster the sand slips through their fingers. But if that same person opens their hand, letting the sand rest on the open palm, they can carry exactly the same amount without losing a single grain. The universe finds unexpected paths, often more elegant and faster than any route your linear mind could have drawn on its own, when it is not limited by the rigid expectations of the human ego. There are countless stories of people who asked for a specific career opportunity, and it arrived through a random conversation, on an airplane, a comment on social media, or a layoff that at first seemed a tragedy, and then revealed itself as the exact gateway to what had been requested months before. Trusting the process is not passivity. It is the mature understanding that your role is to emit the signal with clarity and maintain a coherent frequency. Delivering the order is not your job. Now I want to lead you through an exercise. Close your eyes if you are in a safe environment to do so, or just soften your gaze. Breathe deeply 3 times, letting the air out slower than it came in. Imagine that in front of you there is a line, and this line represents time. Behind you is the past. In front of you, extending as far as the eye can see, is the future, not yet written in detail, but already containing in potential all possible versions of you. Choose now a specific point on that line, a moment in the future, where what you asked for with clarity is already completely fulfilled. It could be a year from now, 2 years, 5 years. Take a symbolic step forward, crossing the distance to that point, and allow yourself to arrive. Observe first where you are living. Feel the texture of the floor under your feet in that place. Notice the light coming through the windows, the specific scent of that environment, the objects you chose to compose that space. Then, observe your work. What is the sensation in your body when you are doing what you chose to do? Is there lightness? Is there purpose? Is there the specific type of satisfied fatigue of someone who ends the day having contributed something that matters? Notice the people around you in this future version. How do they speak to you? What is the quality of the respect and affection present in these relationships? And finally, allow a specific and important event from this timeline to reveal itself to you. Something remarkable, a celebration, a visible achievement, a moment when the fulfillment of your request became impossible to ignore, even to the most skeptical people around you. Stay in this place for as long as necessary, absorbing every sensory detail as if you were recording a high-definition film within your own nervous system. You are not fantasizing. You are visiting a possibility that already exists, in potential, within the field, and by observing it with such wealth of detail, you exponentially strengthen the biological conviction that that future is not just desirable, but inevitable. This conviction, installed below the level of conscious thought, is what changes the energetic signature you emit every day, even when you are no longer in meditation, even when you are washing dishes or driving in traffic. Now the responsibility is entirely yours. You have just visited, with absolute clarity, the version of you that already lives this reality. Ignoring this call is choosing, consciously, to continue training your body for scarcity for one more day, one more month, one more year. The Iman de Prosperidad exists exactly for this turning point. 28 days of guided reprogramming to transform this vision into permanent biology. It's all in the first pinned comment. Do not close this video without deciding. Comment now, "Iusu coherente," and give your brain the instruction it is waiting for to stop sabotaging what you desire most. Upon leaving this state of deep visualization, there is one last step, small in effort but gigantic in impact, that separates those who truly reprogram the field from those who just had an interesting experience and returned to their usual routine. This step is the record. Take a notebook, physical if possible, because the motor act of writing by hand activates different brain regions than simple typing, and write down everything you noticed during the projection. The colors, the smells, the words you heard, the faces, the details of the event you witnessed. This record serves two simultaneous functions. First, it anchors the experience in long-term memory, transforming a fleeting visualization into a reference, solid that your brain will begin to treat it as something already lived, already real, already part of your history. Second, it creates a document that you can reread on days when doubt tries to reoccupy the space that clarity has just conquered. Repeat this exercise regularly, preferably before sleeping, because in the minutes leading up to sleep, your brain naturally slows down to slower waves, more receptive, less filtered by the critical thinking of everyday life. It is in this threshold state between wakefulness and sleep that reprogramming happens most efficiently, because it is precisely when rational defenses, those that normally reject any idea that contradicts the old, already installed beliefs, are momentarily at their lowest. Each repetition is like a new pass along that dirt path we described at the beginning, only now you are opening a new path in the opposite direction of scarcity, and each night of practice deepens this new groove a little more, until it too becomes the path of least resistance. The conclusion I need to leave engraved in you before this video ends is this. Visualizing the result as something already achieved is not a harmless fantasy exercise to calm anxiety. It is the literal, mechanical, biological key that activates the laws governing the creation of reality and transforms layer by layer what today is still only potential into something concrete, palpable, undeniable. You can close this video now, and tomorrow morning, your body will wake up and repeat without even noticing the same emotional script as always, the same tightness in your chest, the same automatic thoughts of scarcity, because that is what the old path knows how to do. Or you can decide now today to change your neurological starting point. Biology does not wait for permission, it waits for instruction, and instruction only exists when you decide.